is Belle Jarneski, and I am the Executive Director of the Jewish Heritage Center of Western Canada. This afternoon, we are so thrilled to present Alan Novak's inspiring and uplifting film about the world's oldest surviving Holocaust survivors' siblings, Anne Novak, Sally Singer, Ruth Zimmer, and Saul Fink. We are so excited to have all four with us today, along with Alan. Crossing the River, the Fink family story is a wonderful portrayal of the incredible resilience of these four fabulous people, a portrait of courage, love, and joy. The film also provides us with an important reminder of the amazing strength and capacity of the human spirit. More than 1,050 Holocaust survivors rebuilt their lives in Winnipeg and have contributed so much to our community. We're grateful to Alan for preserving the important story of his family, which I am sure will be appreciated by many generations to come. And now, at this time, I'm honored to call on Mark Cantor, the President of the Board of Directors of the Jewish Heritage Center of Western Canada, to bring greetings.
Thank you, Belle. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Cantor. I chair the Jewish Heritage Center of Western Canada. Welcome to this afternoon's event, this program. I'm very excited about this, and it's so nice to see everybody here this afternoon. I wish to start by recognizing and acknowledging that we are on ancestral lands on Treaty 1 territory. The Red River Valley is also the birthplace of the Métis. We acknowledge that the water from this site is sourced from the Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. We recognize the historical fact emphasized by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada and the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, and is acknowledged by the Government of Canada that the Canadian government and various religious and secular organizations that predate the country perpetuated a genocide against the Indigenous peoples, and that elements of that genocide continue to the present day. We affirm that our commitment to never forget must also include confronting attempts to destroy Indigenous culture and nationhood, and condemning attempts to deny that historical reality. The Jewish Heritage Center's mission includes serving as an advocate for anti-racism and also providing education on the Holocaust. Indeed, the Jewish Heritage Center has become the principal purveyor of education on the Holocaust. We have seen a considerable rise in anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial, and having events such as this that you're going to see this afternoon, where we share compelling stories documenting what had happened, I think it makes this event that much more important and poignant for all of us. I'm very proud to be involved with the Jewish Heritage Center. It's my honor to have been chairing this organization for the past several years. I'm extremely proud of all the work that all of the various staff at our organization, board members, committee members, volunteers, and of course members of the public, we've all done in terms of, again, the work that the Jewish Heritage Center has done. I'm so proud of all the programs and events that we've held every year throughout the year. I do have a confession to make, though. I must admit that this event this afternoon perhaps stands out just a little bit from other programs that we've been involved in, and that's due to my personal connection with the participants in the program this afternoon. I am related to the Fink family through my wife, Jill, through marriage. I am related to them, and over the years that I've gotten to know them, I've become so fond of all of you. And I appreciate that the time that I've spent with you is not sufficient, but the time that I have spent with you, I do cherish. Saul, sitting over here, of course, Anne, Ruth, and Sally. Your strength and your resilience are so inspiring, and I look forward to many more cherished moments that I can spend with all of you. Another relative of mine, Alan Novak. Alan, well, he has a lot to his background. He is the director of the film that you're going to be seeing this afternoon and the moderator for the rest of the event this afternoon. Alan is a respected independent media creator, consultant, and entrepreneur with over 30 years' experience. He is an award-winning creator, writer, director, editor, producer, and executive producer of numerous documentaries. Also reality, factual, and comedy series for broadcasters including, and wait for it, there are several here, HBO, Disney, Comedy Central, PBS, CBC, Comedy Network, Super Channel, Shaw Media, W Network, TV Ontario, Vision TV, and so many others. Alan created the grandmother cooking series, Loving Spoonfuls, and his aunt, Ruth Zimmer, was in the pilot episode. That series ran for 4 seasons and was seen in 18 countries. Since 2014, Alan has also taught media production and creative development of all types at Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly Ryerson University. Most recently, Alan has been embracing new production and teaching platforms and formats. He started a virtual summer camp for media makers. He founded a post-COVID collective of content creators. He edited a docu-comedy series for the CBC. And as you'll see this afternoon, he made this independent short film about his mother, Anne, and her siblings, the oldest living Holocaust survivor siblings in the world. Alan Novak.
Thanks, Mark. I don't really have anything prepared other than I'm thrilled to have this as essentially the world premiere of this. The story is sort of contextualized in the film. It's very personal, but essentially my mom had a heart attack about a year ago last year, and it was very serious, and at the same time Sally turned 100, and there was a confluence of events, and then kind of out of an article that my sister wrote, the Shoah Foundation in Los Angeles, it came on their radar, and they did their research, and they said, do you know what we have here are the oldest set of surviving siblings? And all of a sudden, it set everything into motion. People started calling me, are the film rights available, that sort of thing. I was like, well, no one's gonna make a film about them except for me. And then at a dinner with Mark and the family, he was sort of talking about the Historical Society and the relevance, and then everything came together immediately, and I just started recording and looked back in my archives, and I've been recording them since the 80s. I've been filming my family, not knowing why exactly, but now it's all coming to a fore. So thrilled to present this, playing with some new technologies. You're going to see that although the story starts in essentially 1919, our whole film is in color. And through use of some artificial intelligence technologies that I've discovered. So you're going to see that time, pre-war Poland and all of that, through our family photographs in a fresh new way. And I'm very excited and proud to have done that. It's not I showed this to some friends in Toronto, and they were like, this isn't a Holocaust film. They were sort of upset. They were going, they didn't suffer enough. It was sort of comedic, but there was a sense that because this is a sort of a survival and a very optimistic and upbeat story, that somehow it didn't fit in. So I'm just adjust your expectations. This is an upbeat, happy story of survival and choices, and the story of many of us and our families. And it's a story of Winnipeg and the greenhorns of Winnipeg, etc. So it's 33 minutes long. It's still, I'm still editing it. We're still filming some material. Afterwards, we'll have a short Q&A, and happy for you to, if you have any questions about anything, about whether about the film, but more importantly about their story or any details. Here we have an incredibly rare opportunity to have people that were there and were old enough to remember it. So it's, yeah, enjoy the film. Hi there. Good. Sounds like people enjoyed the film. Grab a seat. Yeah, I can't do it all. Can we? We're going to sort of bring... Yeah, grab a seat. Shayla, can you help the ladies come over here? We're just going to swing the chairs up. We're just getting around mobility issues. But in the meantime, we're happy to, answer questions or talk about it. Yeah, it's anyone, or anyone want to share any thoughts or, any ideas that are relative to the film or whatever, interactive. I'll just say that it's an incredible journey for me to travel through this, and the story of the brother, I hardly knew, and in fact, it was only about 2 months ago that I found this little grainy picture of a child doing the communist salute, and I asked Saul, who is this? And he said, that's me, I think that's me, and then we realized that was Ellie or Alushka, and so through doing the research, I found images that nobody knew existed. Some photo had been mailed, from Poland to Siberia and then brought back. So the whole process was full of surprises. So let me just ask Auntie Ruthie. So what's it like to watch this whole thing, your whole life, just kind of play back like that?
It's very interesting. I'm surprised that I can still talk now. It's exciting.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Saul, what's it? No, that's okay. I can just go in between. What's it like when you watch this film? How do you feel? What kinds of memories come back?
Well, I was really, one thing, happy with all those tours that we went through, that we made it and come and live like people.
Truly loved Canada. Mom, what are your feelings? I'll hold the mic. Just go ahead.
I was very emotional, and I saw our life, previous life, and it brought, the emotions. And I can tell you one thing, that I'm so happy that I have you. You showed me my life, my previous life, and I hope I'll enjoy the rest of my life. Thank you so much.
Listen, it's not about me. It was my pleasure and my honor and responsibility in some ways to do this. Saul, you have something to say? Oh, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Where do we live now? Everybody's in Winnipeg, and what's part of the story is they lived together. Everybody moved first to the Old North End, like Cathedral and Polson. Then everyone moved to West Kildonan, Perth, Seven Oaks, Vanier Drive, and McAdam, always within like 3 kilometers. Then the 3 sisters moved into a condo on 2000 St. Clair and lived literally next door to each other. And now the 3 of them are at the Shaftesbury, and Saul's nearby. So really the closeness has persisted. That's been a constant. Yeah. I'm the one who moved to Toronto. Yeah. Yeah.
How did all those wonderful pictures survive?
How did the wonderful pictures survive? Do we know who saved all these photos? Was it your mother or?
No, I think Auntie Clara. We used to send to Canada pictures. So we probably collected from Rosalind some pictures that we had, because when we were going through the borders from Germany, nobody was allowed pictures to carry. So we probably had pictures from Canada that we sent to Auntie Annie, to Auntie Clara, yes.
Right, like the photo of my mom with Stalin in the background. You couldn't cross a border, right? And then someone would pull this out and you'd be flagged. So, yeah, things somehow survived. And then I poured through everything and then did the enhancement, which is what really brought it to life for me. Yeah, any other, yeah, go ahead.
I was curious about the journey from Siberia back to Poland. It was like 5,000 kilometers. How did they get back?
Yes. Who wants to, do you want to talk about that? I'll hold the mic.
We have a very tough journey. It took a long time, but eventually we came to Canada and we started life to begin. And I had jobs. I worked in kindergartens, and thanks God for Canada. I love Canada.
Do you remember anything about the train ride back from Siberia back to Poland? Do you remember what the train ride was like?
Well, I really forgot, but it must have been the same way going there, almost a month or over a month.
How many people would have been in a car together?
I'll tell you only one thing. Nowhere was a comfort. Nowhere you had comfort there. You're just lucky every day that you made it.
Right, I believe there was just a straw on the bottom, and just like cattle, they were just taken.
Yeah, we were coming back from Russia in cattle trains. So if you have to go, you know, the nature calls, everybody was sitting by the, you know, bent down by the trains and, you know, greeting each other. Hello, hello, you know. Sitting down.
Was there any romance on the train?
Kneeling down, you know, everybody says hi. Hello, Miss Fink, hello, this one, that one. You had no choice. You had to do what you had to do.
Dignity was not a luxury you could afford. Yes?
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm Cheryl Rosenberg, and I'm an old friend of Sally's daughter, Pammy. I remember many, many years ago now, at least 15 years, I had a conversation with her about their life as children, and she talked to me about the Zionist organization that they belonged to and how they practiced all the skills of being able to be chalutzim. And it was a wonderful, wonderful story. I was telling her about my daughter leaving for Israel, and she was telling me in Hebrew all the things they did to prepare. She still had every word of that Hebrew that they learned. I don't know if Sally remembers me now, but I wanted to know from you how you recovered or got those pictures of the Zionist organization dancing in the woods in the costumes. None of those people lived, right? How did you find those photographs?
You mean the little video clip of people dancing?
Yeah.
Oh, I just found that on the internet, to be honest. I mean, I searched through different obscure YouTube videos that were there. Some of this material is not licensed. If the film moves farther, I have to go and track down the owners of things. But I took liberties in terms of honoring the fair use, I guess, of the images. So I don't really have a source. All the photos are ours, and the Zionist organizations came from my dad's collection, those men in rooms, which is really interesting. But yeah, that's the story of that.
So I'll say one more thing. In Yad Vashem, there is a wall, a photographic wall, where the video, the photographs kind of live the way you made yours live, which was the most remarkable achievement. And there's footage like that in there. And that to me is such a poignant recollection of the quality of their life before. Thank you so much for bringing all that to life.
Good. So, yeah, the animated section is a little controversial, the ending, because some people feel it's creepy and sort of inappropriate. But for me, I felt it allowed us to view these people as individuals and not as sort of blurry black and white, just faces from the past, but actually as my family experienced them, as uncles, cousins, brothers. This one painted murals, this one had a bakery, this one was headstrong, this one was a beauty, etc. So, there's a lot of research I did that's not in here just about the individual characters. And I think so often in, Holocaust images, they're just, sometimes just bodies, right?
Hi.
Beauty. Auntie Clara was the beauty, right?
Yeah.
Was she the beauty?
Beautiful woman, yeah. Gorgeous.
Anybody not beautiful?
Who says we're not beautiful?
I'm just joking. I'm sure somewhere that somebody wasn't, but yeah.
Yes.
Is there
The Nazi image was to murder all the Jews that they could, right? And this wonderful family survived. And I'm interested to know, of the four of you, how many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren together you now have, because it would be a really wonderful show of what has happened and how we have continued to survive. Do you have that information?
Saul, how many how many grandchildren and children and grandchildren? 8? 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Mom had 3 kids. There's 4 great-grandchildren. 6? Evan, okay. The numbers. Here's the thing. In the next version, I'm actually going to be reworking this. Part of the plan is there's going to be a final, I didn't have time to do it, there actually will be a final tableau with all of exactly that in images of family tree. Yeah, it's coming. That's a great, thank you for reminding me I have to do that. But everyone had progeny, and they're all, their great-grandchildren are all growing up right now, so that's what's wonderful. Yep.
Going back to the animation of the faces, I imagine that's going to be really, really difficult to watch from your perspective. You're seeing people that I think, have you heard everything up till now? I think that by seeing them living is very gratifying, but to see them not living has got to be very painful.
Right. Saul, at the end, when you saw all the family, all the pictures at the very end, the ones that were moving, of like your uncle Avram and Eli, your brother, what was it like to see the fact that they're moving, not alive, but...
No, what can you do? I was just happy that I have a chance to see them, just the way they are. I'm very upset what happened, but it's nice if you have a chance from time to time at least to see their pictures.
That's great. That's lovely. Yeah, it's true. I can imagine that. Simon?
I was very sad when I saw the one that didn't survive. This was very, very painful.
Mix, right? Pain, pleasure, joy, and sorrow all together, all at once.
Hi.
Yep.
This is indeed, oh, it's too loud. This is really a story of optimism And I believe 3 years ago on the English portion of the Jewish Radio Hour, Jerry Posner interviewed Sally. Or Anne.
Oh, okay. Oh, my sister.
That's right. And what am I saying? 2 years from now, we're all still here in Amen.
Yes, indeed. And Jerry Posner interviewed me 3 days ago, so that's coming up. I just missed it by having done it before, but yeah. Yeah, any other thoughts? Just by the way, a quick shout out to Shayla, Fink, and Kinsey Posen. The Finjan music, really, I say it's a third of the film. What's that? Who? Oh, who is? Oh, Myron. Oh, sorry. Oh, Myron Schultz is here. Where's Myron? There you go. Thank you so much for allowing me to use this. Because, I mean, imagine you're making a film and Saul's daughter's band, is doing the music. I mean, it could not be a more perfect soundtrack. And all the work that they've done, these recordings go back to the mid '80s. Again, it's as if this was scoring their life, which just underscores the music and the klezmer music based on the Jewish experience and how it truly, like, there it is, right? The music feels right, the story, it's all just kind of a perfect confluence. So I'm really thrilled that this happened this way as well. Yeah.
Where could we see this movie again?
Well, it's not. Sure. I mean, there's a temptation to just go, just put it on YouTube or whatever. But my plan is so my cousin Debbie Wish, who's Debbie Linhart, who's Auntie Clara's granddaughter, saw this when we had our family reunion in August, and she's a producer or building a producer career. She says, let's do more with this. So the plan is there's going to be a little more editing, and then I'm going to do a film festival version, and the plan is to enter it to many Jewish film festivals around the world. So I'm loath to sort of release it in its less than final version. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, and then hopefully it'll film festivals and then maybe a broadcaster, or if not, I will just put it on YouTube eventually. So it will eventually live, but I'm trying to keep it, and to see how much we can build it. Ideally, I'd love to get it on CBC or Netflix or something like that, although that wasn't why I made it, but it's sort of like, now that it's made, it's like, okay, maybe this does have resonance. So can't quite release it yet. But if you know me personally, I can send you a password-protected link to sort of see it, which I've sent a few people. Yeah.
Make a film and start selling.
She wants me to start selling. I mean, Loving Spoonfuls really was, back to that in '99, when I was trying to come up with my first producer idea, I was like, wanted to make a comedy, and then the food craze was just beginning, and I was like, how can I do comedy and food? And then I thought of Auntie Ruthie, who's an amazing cook and hilarious, as we know, and so flew to Winnipeg, and we did the pilot, and it ended up being a big success. So yeah, Auntie Ruthie, and she knows what she's talking about, and her instincts are excellent, are first rate. Anything else? Does anyone have any? Oh yeah, right here. Go ahead.
He's talking.
18 to 20 years ago, I was lucky enough to move into 2000 Sinclair.
Right.
Lucky enough to get moved on to the 5th floor and become neighbors with these wonderful, wonderful people. And just a little anecdote. They kept their doors open because they wandered from one apartment to the next.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, it's a good idea. I'll leave my apartment open. And of course, Maury came in, and he always fixed something for me. A sweater needed a little knitting,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever it was
Examine,
together.
yeah.
And we became very close, and we're still close to this day. I was lucky enough to be invited to Sally's 100th birthday, and got to know Saul as well, and just very gratified to be here today.
That's great. That's lovely. Thank you. This flow, the three sisters and Saul. I mean,
I would like to say something to Mr. Churchinov. Thank you for 5 years supplying us the Hummentasche.
food equals love in one of the equations of that, and a lot of that is. Now I understand. I mean, I used to say, "Oh, why are bread?" or "Why are you always obsessed with having bread and butter and things like that?" But really, for so many years, they had nothing and were scraping by to survive. I mean, that first year in the barrack, putting wood in the pail. What else do you remember about that? That first hard year in Siberia. What did you eat?
Who can remember? But I can tell you one thing. I was every day a bit hungry. That I can tell you. What I ate, probably bread, and bread was only so much as you can eat. When you get 800 grams for a person that works. I was 15 years, and I thought I'm 18 or 17, that I should be able to get more bread.
Was the work very hard that you were doing?
Oh, it was always labor work. Dig holes in the ground, because there is not like here. For everything you take electric, the tree is already there. We have to do it. I can remember in the winter time, we had to dig a big hole all around, because when a tree falls, sometimes it separates the worm. It can fly over, and one in front of me, one of a Jew with a beard, a religious one. A tree killed him when the tree fell. Everything you did there is kind of dangerous.
Not a lot of cordless power tools. Not a lot of cordless power tools. I'm sorry. No.
They didn't have enough regular.
Not even enough saws.
Saws to cut.
Right.
They had those long trees, that they cut them up certain sizes. And then they were cutting boards. So one guy was on the top, one underneath. The one underneath had to look up all the time, and the other one had to look down. But that's how they cut boards.
Boards, just manual labor.
Through a machine.
Right. And then
There, every board took half an hour or an hour.
Right.
They were up and down.
Thank God those days are over, huh? Thank God that's finished. You never have to cut another board. Good. Oh, hang on here. Yeah. Hold it.
Okay. I remember when I was in Siberia, and I worked very hard in the forest, and my both legs were frozen up to the knee, and I didn't know what to do. It was, if you run away from work, it's a whole year you have to go to jail. So I was thinking, should I die here and I better run away and go to jail, and that's it. In the meantime, I ran away. I wasn't cut. My both legs were swollen because they were frozen up to the knee from not having good clothes. And I went home. So this was...
Can I say something?
Think about wonderful Siberia. Okay. I remember being a little girl, but I had a little box. So when the man came with when he could come in the winter, sometimes he didn't bring the bread. So when he sliced the bread, there was a lot of crumbs. So I was standing with the box there on the side. If all the bread was gone, all the crumbs belonged to me. So I came there and he knew already who's getting the crumbs. And I was always collecting the crumbs so I can have a little bread. That was wonderful, Siberia. But Stalin made us live. He didn't chase us out, and we survived there. Yeah?
Survival is really has always been even as their child, I mean, just the whole concept of survival it's planted deep. And I think it probably is in many survivors, children and grandchildren, I think, this area of study of post-Holocaust trauma and generational trauma is very real, and so it's been useful for me to explore that in the film. We're done? What time is it? That's right. That's always the response. Time to eat? Yeah. Just go ahead.
I want to
There and then there. Okay, we'll do the.
First of all, it's clear to me, and I'm a second-generation survivor, that you, four of you, and probably the rest of your extended family back there, had an incredible sense of gratitude, of dignity, of finding the silver lining no matter what, and it just beams in you and your family today. I know some of them, that's what they're all blessed with. So thank you.
Yes, the optimism, absolutely. One up there.
I'm very thrilled that you put this together because for a change, it's got a positive outlook. And I won't say that it was easy because it wasn't, but it's a little different from what we've seen before. So thank you very, very much. And the story is very interesting, and I know all the family.
Good, thanks for your comment. Any other questions or comments? Bell or yeah.
And you once shared with me a story about the issue with food and how you lined up one day to try to get some food, but you weren't able to. Can you share that story?
Sure. My mother, we were getting every day in the morning soup for a whole day, like a pot of soup for a family of 5. And I cannot push myself in front of everybody. We should. And people were in front of me, and everybody pushes itself, and I'm waiting. It came to me. They didn't have any more soup. So how do I go home without the food for a whole day? So I was standing there and crying, and I don't want to go home without, So they noticed that I cried. So she says she's going to put up the oven there, wherever. They cooked another pot of soup for our family. This was their life.
Ruthie, you said actually the people in Siberia after the first year that they were actually quite nice, the Russians, that they were somewhat generous and friendly. Is that right?
Some of them were, of course. They're human beings. Some of them had cows they offered you. I remember we had all earrings from home. So one day a kid said he'll bring me a glass of milk. I should give him my earrings. So I give her 1 earring for 1 glass of milk, and I told her, come tomorrow, bring me another glass. I'll give you the other earring. Because I didn't want to give them both together. I would lose a glass of milk. You learn, when you're hungry, you learn somehow to, to manage.
The Russians are very kind. They were very kind. I went home, like the family lived away from the places that we worked. And summertime, we could pick, they had a certain berry that if you picked up a whole pail, you could sell it for bread. So my brother picked up the pail of the berries, and we both walked back to work. And it gets dark, and Sal is not feeling good. And he sat down, he says, I cannot walk anymore. We are both in the forest, do you remember? And I said, Sal, but we are in the forest and it's already late. You don't see a soul walking. But we walked to a house, the first house. I says, come. I knock on the door, and I says to the lady, my brother is not feeling good, and he's carrying something. She says, oh, come in. And she put him on, they have above the stove, they had a little, like a, I don't know how to call it. Yeah, pieczka, they called it. So he covered him up with something warm, and she gave him a glass of milk to drink, and he felt better.
You're talking about in Siberia, when you were sick, you were carrying the berries, and you had to stop at a house. And
I remember that. I never thought that I'm going to make it to walk to that house. And Hanya, we both walked there, not far from there. And thank God when I came in, she helped me right away in about 1 hour. I was relieved, everything.
Can I just tell the story
I never thought I'd make it. I thought for sure it's my last day.
Right. Sheila?
When you started working in Winnipeg, can you tell them the lunch that your mother made you?
The lunch your mother made you in Winnipeg?
And you ate it for a half hour?
Well, she made pierogis. So I told her to make me a sandwich with pierogis. 2 slices of bread and a pirog in the middle.
Chocolate milk?
Yeah, that's a whole bottle. That I went to buy myself.
And from the first minute of his lunch till the last minute of his lunch, he just
ate a half an hour.
celebrated every
Yeah, celebrated. Imagine the abundance coming to Winnipeg.
For too long.
Yes.
But thank God that we healed and we are Baruch Hashem. A1.
I have a little story. In Russia, they used to, doesn't matter how old you are. I was already 12, 13, so I was old enough to work. So they sent me with a guy, with Lefushtil. You remember, a guy, a gelähmte. He a man, he hardly walked, and I was a young girl. But we were walking to a village. We were supposed to work there, but it was dark, so we walked in to sleep over. So there was an old woman that was sick. So I told the daughter, he is a doctor. So and he looks at me like I'm Meshigi. But I knew that he's a doctor, he'll help my mother. So we got some piece of bread, and we got a potato. And she asked us if we want some milk. We were fed. And he had some aspirins on him, kogutkis, that. So he gave her an aspirin. She said she's better. So we got a good meal out of it, and in the morning we left. So that's how you survived in beautiful Siberia.
Okay, good. So I believe there's something. Sorry. So there's. Okay. Cheryl from JCFS has some remarks. Come on down. We're wrapping it up. Do you want to just, are you with that mic? Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. On behalf of Jewish Child and Family Service, I'm delighted to offer some closing remarks for this afternoon's program. I will begin by thanking you for attending today's event and demonstrating your support of this unique film and post-film chat. With our presence here today, we let Sally, Anne, Saul, and Ruth know that their experiences matter, not only to their family and friends, but to the broader community. We thank the four of you for sharing your story with Alan and for enriching our lives by sharing it with us as well. To the filmmaker Alan Novak, I know I speak for all of us here today in telling you how valuable this work is. Not only have you captured the richness of the lives of your parents, aunts, and uncles, you have brought a piece of history to life. Thank you for your vision and commitment to this project and for bringing it to us. Every time we hear a story, read a memoir, talk with a survivor, or watch a film about the Holocaust, we become witnesses. Today, everyone in this audience became a witness, a link in the chain of learning and remembering survivor stories. A film like this is not a passive undertaking. Yes, we are viewing it, but we are also carrying its meaning and message forward into the world. In this sense, we are not simply spectators, but conduits of memories of survivors. Each time we preserve and share memories of the past, we create continuity for the future. We look to the past so that we may find and uphold a brighter and more just future. Doing so enables the transformation of memories into actions that can heal and repair. The four of you are referred to as the oldest set of survivor siblings in the world. While this may seem a dubious honor, it is a remarkable achievement. In choosing Winnipeg as your home over 70 years ago, you did what most survivors did. You looked to the future with hope and rebuilt your lives. It truly speaks to the concept of surviving and thriving, as you have done these many years. The Fink family story is not simply a story of siblings and parents and extended family. Alan's film about the Finks is also a lesson in perseverance, a narrative that began in the past and continues into the present and will resonate into the future. In our work at Jewish Child and Family Service, we view Holocaust survivors as strong and resilient beyond measure. They are the most alive group of people I have met. They truly embody the concept of engaging with life fully and triumphing over adversity. Today's film honors the Fink family's Holocaust experiences in an uplifting way. It demonstrates how resilience and tenacity were at the core of the Fink siblings' journey to this day. Alan reveals to the viewer how their courage and inner strength enabled them not to wallow in despair or bitterness, but to move forward, finding and creating joy in the world. A few years ago, JCFS did a presentation at the Limud Day of Learning. The presentation was about the enduring legacy of the Holocaust and the inheritance of memory. In asking survivors directly what would be important to them in terms of preserving their experiences, their most common wish centered on the obligation of others to remember their stories as a way of honoring what they lived through and learning from them. As one survivor put it, to not be forgotten by the world and by life. In curating the stories and experiences of the Fink family from their days in Sanok, Poland, to their time in Siberia and Germany, and finally to their lives in Winnipeg, Alan Novak has shone a light on life before, during, and after the Holocaust for all survivors. Once again, we thank the Fink siblings for sharing their story with us. thank you to Alan for bringing the story to the screen and inviting us all to become another link in the chain of Holocaust memory. Jewish Child and Family Service is delighted to have partnered with the Jewish Heritage Center of Canada and Jewish Federation in bringing this event to fruition. I would like to acknowledge and thank Bel Jarnewski and Stan Carbone of the Jewish Heritage Center for all their hard work in making today's program possible. Please join us now in the Caney foyer just outside the theater for refreshments. Thank you.